Thank you. Dr. Judy here, Dr. Judy WTF, what the Freud. And tonight's topic is going to be a real what the Freud kind of a topic because it's going to be talking about hope and it running eternal. And what the Freud has us chasing hope around like a dangling carrot. So tonight's topic is the narcissistic carrot, hope runs eternal. And what are narcissists good at? They are great at dangling a carrot in front of you. You've seen the horses where they make the horses run for a really, really long time by putting a carrot right in front of their nose, and they think they're going to catch the carrot. The problem is that the carrot is attached to some kind of a, I don't know, I don't even know what it's attached to, but some sort of a pole that um, that's just outside of their ability to get the carrot. And then they just keep running and running and running, thinking that they're going to actually have it at some point. Um, Narcissists are a little bit different because they let you have a little bit of a nibble on the carrot, but not enough to really satisfy you fully, and not enough so that you can really feel like you got the carrot. So this is a call-in show, everybody. That number 323-524-2599. Would love to hear from you personally. You know I love call-ins. And so what I've decided to do for the people who do call in, you guys get $100 off my video, Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. So just call me. We will make arrangements. You can contact me at Dr. Judy, DRJUDY, at psychologicalhealingcenter.com. And if you call in, your reward, and it's not going to be a carrot, I guarantee you, it's going to be the full course of healing from narcissistic abuse. And I don't think anybody is going to regret going through the plan. So, with that said, let's just jump right into it. The narcissistic carrot. What is a narcissistic carrot? A narcissistic carrot is something that is presumably going to be very good for you, very delicious, very nutritious, something that's worth really running the race for. And the narcissist has this carrot, of course, dangling in front of you. So, what are some of the danglings that I'm talking about? Well, the most obvious dangle is that you are going to be theirs eternally. So, they dangle the hope that eventually they will commit to you, they'll take you on as a partner, they will share their life with you. And this goes for both male narcissists, female narcissists, or any kind of narcissist, really. So if they're dangling something in front of your nose and you happen to be a very needy person, needy of what they are offering you, then you will go a long way. Or some of you may go a long, long way to get that carrot. So it might start something like, I am committed to you. I'm committed to being committed. And let's just take our time and get to know each other. And then, months go by, maybe even years go by, maybe even a decade goes by. And you're still in there, on the whole, you're still marching forward with this person, hoping that you're going to get the full carrot. However, the carrot never comes. Why does it not come, you might ask? From a narcissist's point of view, why should they give you the carrot when they can have lots of people running after them? After all, isn't that the definition of narcissism? Is they want everybody to love them, they want everybody to value them, they want everybody to run after them. So they might have a few carrots dangling in front of a few people, which then stokes their narcissism even more, which makes it really, really fun for them to offer you the carrot and then take it away from you anytime, or presented to you. So, especially when you're hungry, by the way, presented to you and then jerk it away just before you get to consume it. So, what does this little game look like? Well, as in any game, it takes two people to play it. So, one has to be somebody who is needing supply and needing validation, and the other person might be you that needs to feel finally like somebody loves them. They need to feel lovable. They need to be accepted. They fear abandonment. Maybe at this point, you're even romantically hooked to this narcissist, and you find it very difficult to let the energy go. So you're going to be playing out this game because you're so invested, and that's what they love, the investment. So just like the horse is going to go and trot 1 mile, 2 miles, 10 miles, 100 miles, 500 miles, the more they trot for the carrot. Sorry, my voice today. I've been talking all day. The more they run for the carrot, the more they're invested, and the more they're invested, the less likely they are to stop running. So, what do I mean by hope runs eternal? What I mean by that is the person on the other side who is hoping to get the full carrot or at least a little taste of it is hoping that this is not a bad joke. This is not a fool's endeavor. This is something for real, that the person just needed more time. They needed to figure things out. And how does that other person participate in this lengthening of this charade, so to speak? The way they participate is by helping to excuse the narcissist. So they might do something like say, like, I totally understand. I totally understand that you have abandonment issues yourself. I totally understand that you came out of a bad relationship and you don't want to reinvest yourself so quickly. So let me take the pressure off of you, which is really music to narcissist's ears, because now they're thinking, well, then I don't have to. I don't have to give them the carrot. I can just keep dangling. And what's amazing to me is for how many years this can go on and on and on, because it goes back to a subject that I've spoken about quite a few times called intermittent reinforcement. And what is intermittent reinforcement? It's sort of like the love bombing. A love bombing is like a big bite of the carrot, like the roses and the wine and the vacations and the promises and the I promise by next month or by next year we will be a couple. I promise that I'll introduce you to my family. I promise that I will not let you down. And then comes the big love bomb. They take you on a vacation or they buy you some sort of a little chintzy commitment ring or something really insignificant. And then you might open your mouth and say, well, I was expecting a little bit more than, what's that? Jack in the Box ring or some stupid symbol of something. And then they say, it's coming, but it's going to take some time for me to really jump fully into the deep end of this relationship. And then the other person actually buys into it and thinks, well, just give him more time, just give him more space, don't pressure that. And then that's more music to the narcissist's ear. And after a while, what happens, unfortunately, is they actually start losing respect for you because you're not keeping your boundaries. You've already told them what you want, which probably is the relationship and, everything that goes with a relationship. And yet you're willing to lower yourself to expect to accept what we call breadcrumbs in the world of narcissism. And what is breadcrumbs is just like little pieces of this and little pieces of that. So they're breadcrumbs of rewards, which brings us back to partial reinforcement, which brings us back to partial reinforcement is the most um, the most important and rewarding type of reward system. So let's go back to some behavioral therapy and B.F. Skinner and people who experimented with different kinds of reinforcement and remind ourselves of Psychology 101, where a rat was put on um, partial reinforcement, full reinforcement, and then eventually extinction. So the rats that were on full reinforcement, they kind of took for granted the little food pellets that were coming out of the food delivery system. The rats that were fed and then the system turned off and stayed off. Of course, they were fed outside of the little system of rewards just so that they didn't starve to death. Quickly learned that there was no reinforcement coming, and then at some point they walked away, and that's called the cold turkey approach, or the approach that was the zero reinforcement schedule. But what made the rat keep pressing away and hoping and running through the maze and staying up at night, hoping that something will happen and a little food pellet might fall out, is the ones that received partial reinforcement. So partial reinforcement is the most potent reinforcement schedule of all. And narcissists know this and they play you. And they know that every time you're about to walk away, every time you're about to give up, if they could just whisper some sweet nothing in your ear, and I'm not saying nothing for nothing, I mean, it's nothing. You think it's something, but it's really a big zero. But that'll keep you going. You'll think, oh, maybe we're getting closer to the carrot now. Maybe the person's turned a corner. Maybe I'm going to be the one after all. And this goes on and on and on and on. And if somebody is truly narcissistically injured, as both the parties are, one is injured to the point where they become the narcissist, and the other one is injured because they have abandonment issues and self-esteem issues. And so they're looking for supply from this system gone wrong, the narcissistic system. So again, it takes two people to play the game, and both people are in it, but one gets much more hurt from than the other. And guess which one gets hurt most? Anybody want to take a guess? Maybe call in or get in the chat room. Any comments in the chat room?
Yes, we do have one comment. It is from Derek P. And he says, what are some signs that I'm being strung along by a narcissist? Sometimes it's hard to tell because they do nice things just often enough to make me doubt myself.
Exactly. That's why I put this show on tonight, because they do nice things some of the time. So there's your dead giveaway clue. How do you know? You just answered your own question. If you're not getting what you want and it's been a while, then you're being played. If I say, let's say that I'm trying to sell you something, and I say, okay, give me your credit card. I'm gonna write up the order, and it's, let's say it's a significant amount of money. Let's say it's $1,000, and I say, thank you, Derek. Thank you very much for your order. I will fulfill on the order, but you know what? I'm kind of running low on stock, so don't worry, it'll come. And you think, well, I already paid my money, money being the parallel to an investment. And of course, you have goodwill because you wouldn't do this to another human being, but that doesn't mean everybody on the planet is like you. So we'll talk about that in a moment. So you're waiting for this order to come in, and you're calling and calling and calling the the person that you gave the money to, and then they're just kind of like dangling the carrot and running you around. And still, you haven't gotten the merchandise. And thank you so much. We do have a caller, I see. Hello. Are they on the line, Tony?
One moment, we're just connecting them right now.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like we're having some trouble connecting them, so I'm going to keep trying if you want to keep
Okay, yeah,
talking
I
for
can
just a
keep
minute.
talking and hopefully we can get them on the line and have a conversation because it's always better to have that conversation. So I'll go back to that example. You've already paid your money, you've made the investment, the person has your money, and now you're waiting for the merchandise. And you have goodwill. Hope runs eternal, right? You hope that you're going to get this. You hope it's some kind of a mess up. You hope that the person has integrity. You hope a lot of things, and then you call the person and they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I've been running into supply problems. It's on its way. As a matter of fact, I got a call um, from the warehouse in Mississippi, and it's way on its way. It's just that, it's being held back." And then you have hope, like, oh, it's already in Mississippi, and I live in Iowa. That's great news. Uh, and so you think, okay, you're getting closer and closer, but still 2 weeks go by and nothing. Well, hello, what happened to the merchandise? Oh, well, okay, to be continued, hopefully with this call. And I'm ready for the call. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, thank you for calling.
Oh, great. I'm so glad I got through. I think there was some technical issues. Um,
Definitely,
well,
yes.
okay, awesome. I've Let's get straight to the point. Chasing the carrot. I've done that with my partner's in-laws. Um, Even though I'm not married, I've been with this person for over a decade.
Mhm.
And I realized that, you know what, I'm not getting anywhere. So I'm not chasing nothing. I accept the fact that they're narcissists without any anger and without any
Okay.
ill ill will. And if they don't like me, then they cannot like me. I've whatever I've done that they could be petty about at this point, it's not worth my mental and physical health when there's nicer and kinder and more enriching people in this world. And
Okay, so question. So being that, do you want more than you want from them more than they give you?
well, I've spent about 10 days in their house uh, in about a 3 year period, and I met my partner's father. He's a total textbook narcissist, and he's 90 years old. So God bless him. He's strong. So I
So
don't.
so back up
It
for a minute.
doesn't.
Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt. I just want to really nail the point here. I'm not talking about his father giving you what you need, but are you, in other words, what's the deal here? And is the deal clear? And is the deal okay? In other words, a relationship is a two-way street. It's not something that's going to leave somebody vampired. Understood? Okay, so do you feel vampired? That would be the first question I would ask you. Are you giving
At
more
the,
than receiving?
you know what? At this point, I sent flowers. I've apologized about 3 years ago, and it was an apology. And I wish I could have. I did it for the sake of making peace in the whole circle, and just saying that, you know what, I stayed in your house, and it is what it is. But the person made me feel very on the spot. He was disrespectful, but I was in his house in California, and I live on the East Coast, so I wasn't at a hotel. And once I finally told the person that he made me feel like crap, and that he made me, and I pointed out everything, I became um, the root of all evil. But once I knew that I should have handled it right then and there, and did my education through your mind map. And that's also why I'm calling, because I'm so detached, and I could look at it that there's nothing to chase. At this point, if someone's nasty, oh, yes, okay.
So look, if you want to accept, there's a statement that I use, it is what it is. If you're in an is what it is place, then do what you want as long as it works for you and you don't feel like you're less than. If you go to panel number 7 of my mind map, that's an illustration of 1 plus 1 is greater than 2. So look at panel 7 and stare at it. And you tell me, not that mind map, sorry, the other mind map, the original mind map. Right, panel number 7, okay, paradigm shift. Are you and your partner making each other better?
Well, my partner, unfortunately, and I'm going to be as honest as clear, he pretty much was. I met him when I was in my chaos, and I also met him when I was in my healing, and then I did a lot of just growth. So at that specific time, that wasn't the greatest time of my life, and
but right
unfortunately,
now, I'm asking you right now in this space and time, are you
yeah,
better off with each other? Are you gaining? Is he gaining? Are you losing? Is he gaining and you're losing? Are you gaining and he's losing? What's the deal?
well, he always tells me that he loves me. He went somewhere tonight and
No,
texted me.
you're not sorry. You're not answering the question. Is it a
Okay,
plus? Is it a minus? What is it?
I think it's neutral. Is that a
Okay,
good?
okay, great. No, thank you for that, because some
Thank you.
situations are just a pH neutral. And again, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm trying to make a point here, which is that the narcissist gives people hope. But if you've already given up on that hope and it is what it is, okay, which is what it
Well,
sounds to me like.
no, I mean, before you cut me off, what I've given up hope on was not my partner, was about any relationship with my partners. There's a brother and his sister-in-law, and they have some issue with me. And there's also the father that doesn't, and the sister that doesn't. So I'm not chasing the carrot with his in-laws. With my partner, he's really a good person. I mean, he has great qualities. He's a hard worker. I cannot say nothing negative about him. So I don't want there to be any misunderstandings. But with the carrot, with the sister-in-law even said that she doesn't like me. She'll put up with me. And it was so very, and the brother was very, he could deal with me and then everything will be fine. But then I know deep down they just don't like me, and some people don't like each other. I guess,
Look,
I mean, are we allowed to do that?
it doesn't really matter what they do. Of course, it matters because you don't like it, but it's what your partner does with what his family does to you. So does he help to keep you away from them? Does he help to support you so that you don't have to interface with people who don't like you? So
Yeah,
I think, I don't want to get away from the topic, is what I'm saying, is that, the dangling thing is that there is no dangling thing here because your partner's family seems to not like you. You're clear on it, and your solution is to keep away, right?
absolutely. Because I did everything that I could do. I sent flowers. I was polite, and then they still made it clear. So it's at this point there's better energy out there. I don't need to. You just get to that point of ickiness, and I think if you're dangling a carrot, you could be at a low contact when you're trying to change someone, and when you realize people are not, when people are set in their ways, then it that's how it is. I mean, and to not be physically affected and get anxiety over it, that's
Okay,
part of
so
like the
so
moving on.
so this is not an example really of dangling a carrot because you and your partner are copacetic, and this would be more an example of drawing a boundary. There is no
Well,
carrot.
no, but no, I'm sorry because when he went on a couple cruises with them, and this was fairly recent, he said I tried to make amends with Marianne, but she still just doesn't like you. So he did try to, and then I got to the point that even though I went through all the panels, actually 4, 5, 6, I just was like, it just boiled me up. I'm like, it could they have a financial firm? And I said, well, if she's part of the financial firm, it's a conflict of interest. So I had to take my money out of the firm and go to another firm.
Look, this is
So,
getting too complicated for the point, okay? Because there are too many people here. But the point is that we owe our partners protection, okay? And if the other, and then I'll end the call. We owe our partners protection, and if a family member doesn't like us and they're being offensive to us, um, I think people should also watch the episode that I did last week called the ABCs of Resentment because it gets very difficult when family members don't like your partner, but you still have to like your partner who hangs out with their family members. So that's a whole nother conundrum. But I think in this particular case, um, it sounds like you're good with your partner, and that's what you need to focus on. And if the family's not nice to you, um, then you keep away, and then there's no carrot dangling, no carrots.
Dr. Judy, I have to say that you are amazing. And I'm not, I'm on my phone, so I actually can't see you through the YouTube, but you read it so crystal clear. I mean, absolutely. I tried everything you said. Thank you for all of this, and
Yeah, you're welcome.
much
I'm
appreciated.
gonna
It was such
get
a
off the
cleaning.
call in a minute, but I want to remind you that if you want a discount on the video, you're more
I
than
do. I'm curious, and I would like more information.
welcome.
However, or email. You tell me what's good for you. I know you're busy, so what's the fastest
Email
way to
me,
just get?
email me, and
Okay.
I'll take care of you. Okay. And I will move on with my point because there are just too many players that you presented, this one, that one. So let me get back to the topic and just remember, please, there are no carrots here. Your partner's your partner. You guys are in a committed relationship. Some people don't like you from his team, and you don't have to be around him. And that's good enough. Okay. So I'm gonna get off the call and
Have a great night.
okay, and just be in touch with me via email. Good.
Okay. Thank you, and have a great night.
Thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Appreciate
Okay, so you can see in this particular example, I was trying to get to the carrot that the narcissist is dangling, but I think again, it's a boundary issue. When you have a partner and their family members don't like you, unless the partner is saying, if you don't lend my family money, then I won't like you either, that would be a dangling, that's kind of like blackmail, wouldn't it be? Like that. So thank you for the call. And I'm going to honor everybody that calls in with a discount on the Healing from Narcissistic video, which I so carefully put together because I don't want you guys to be either on either end of the spectrum. Um, I especially don't want people to be suckers in a system gone wrong. And it's really, really easy to be a sucker when you feel vulnerable, when you've already been introduced to amazing qualities of the person that you hope that you're going to spend the rest of your life with and will commit to you, because of course they're showing you a lot of their good stuff, and they're showing you a lot of good stuff, but keep in mind, if they're not giving you a commitment, then they're open-ended, and nobody wants to be in an open-ended relationship. Even people will say to me, well, I want an open marriage. I want, you know, that is just fraught with problems, fraught with jealousy, fraught with imbalances. I personally don't recommend it at all. So same thing with open-ended um, carrot commitments, right, that dangle and don't satisfy. I never recommend them because it's too manipulative. You're going to do a lot of work for very little. It's going to tire you out. And then at the end of the day, if they're not giving you a commitment, they're probably opening up opportunities for other players to play. And do you really want that? Do you want an open-ended relationship where they're not telling you that you're the one for me, which actually means that at this particular moment in time, or if ever, you're not the one for them. And you may never be the one for them. And newsflash, there may not be a one for them, because what they want is not a synergistic relationship, because that's just too hard. You have to put in the work, and you've got to make the effort to work through things when things don't go well, and you've got to communicate. And unless there are just some genuine deal breakers, people need to, buckle up and have the truth conversations and try to work things through. But, of course, there are exceptions if somebody is a severe drug addict, or if there's some sort of a severe um, issue that infringes on the relationship, anger, domestic violence, drug addiction, uh, anything that's going to really blow up the relationship that cannot be worked through, then, like I like to say, don't drop the person, drop the problem. That's what the relationship is all about, is to work through the problem. But if you can't drop the problem, or the other person won't drop the problem, then you've got to drop the person. And the problem in a narcissistic relationship is that one person has too much power and control. And that's a problem, because power and control are the opposite of love and intimacy. So if you have a loving and intimate relationship, then you have synergy. You have a partner that's actually in the game. If you have somebody that's dangling the carrot, you have somebody that's making you work, and they're playing with you. They're actually playing with your feelings and playing with all kinds of things. Maybe your finances, maybe your family, maybe, I don't know, there's so many aspects of life that get infected by a system gone wrong. They're playing with your life, is what they're doing. And so if they're dangling it and they're not invested in it, then they have the power and control, meaning that they don't have the emotional investment, and they can play that dangling game. So let's go to that point, which is lack of empathy. If somebody can do that to you, they most certainly lack empathy, and they are people who are only interested in what they can gain from another human being, which is a pretty ugly game of life. So they're there um, to get from you sex, they're there to get from you money, they're there to get from you shelter, they're there to get from you anything. But they're not there to lay down the sword and be in it and struggle through it and work things through. They're not there for that because, you know, they're going to leave when the going gets really rough. They're going to leave because uh, they're not in the first place, if that makes sense. So, you know, from their point of view, what are they leaving? They're not really leaving because they weren't really in it. But you feel left because you were in it. So that's the difference. One is playing the game of power and control. The other is trying to play the game of love and intimacy. The fundamental problem is that these are all predicated on childhood wounds that you're replicating in a 𝗬𝗏𝗏 manner. And that's why it's so very important to heal from these narcissistic injuries so that you don't keep doing the 𝗬𝗏𝗏 and allow yourself to have somebody dangle carrots in front of you and chase it and so on and so forth. So back to my example. So you just gave the guy $1,000 worth of money on your credit card, and the the the, the, the merchandise is on its way. It's stuck in Missouri. You live in Iowa. You feel hopeful. The merchandise is getting closer and closer, and you know you're excited. Maybe it's some special piece of furniture, and you've already moved the living room around to welcome your beautiful new couch that's going to go there, and you've already bought the pillows, and you've already matched the paint of the wall to match the new couch. And guess what? Now it's a month later, and you call and you say, wow, what happened to my beautiful couch? Well, you're not going to believe this, but you know, the couch that you ordered was actually damaged in a flood. Unfortunately, the movers were moving your very couch, and they got flooded, and everything leaked in. And so we're going to have to replace your couch, unfortunately, and just hold on because, you know, it'll take a while for us to construct the right color and the right material. And you know what's interesting? People buy this. They actually buy it. So if you weren't so vulnerable, then what would a person that's not vulnerable do? Any guess? Tony, what would you do if that happened to you? Are you there?
Yep, I'm just thinking.
You gave your credit card, you're waiting for the merchandise. It's now been 2 months, and they've given you the dangling carrot. It's on its way, it's
I
so close to
I would have
you.
to say I'd have to switch to another place and demand my money back. That sounds like a pretty bad deal.
Exactly. So at a certain point, you realize that you're being played, and so you call the credit company, I hope, and you say, never got the merchandise, please reverse the charges, correct?
That's right. That's what I'd do.
Right. And a lot of people don't have the courage to do that, believe it or not. So these people depend on people who will just let it go or continue to wait or continue to settle for booby prize, which might look like, you know, I'm so sorry, Tony, we couldn't get the couch to you, but we do have a very lovely sofa, a lovely chair that we can have available to you right away. And of course, you don't realize that that chair is worth like, you know, a quarter of the price, or maybe you do realize it, but you're just so happy to get the chair now, and that chair actually comes. So now the person can say, check, I fulfilled on the order, so you can't get your money back on the credit card anymore. And that's what I call being breadcrumbed. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And sounds like a pretty shady furniture company to me.
Pretty shady furniture company. And the narcissist is actually pretty shady and unethical. And, again, if people lack empathy, it's easy to do things that hurt other people because fundamentally they don't give a damn. So it doesn't count for them. They're not feeling guilt. They're not feeling shame. They're not feeling anything. They're just happy to take your money. So whatever they end up giving you in return for that carrot that you wanted might be just like a little sliver of the carrot. Think about the carrot peelers. You just got a little peeled piece of the carrot, and that's it. All done. Right. So that's what having a relationship with a narcissist looks like. And then, of course, they'll walk away, and all of your hopes and all of your dreams and all of your um, plans are right down the tube. So now the couch isn't there, and there's an empty spot, which is the hole in your heart. The couch isn't there. You've now redecorated the walls according to the new couch that didn't come. So you've changed your life to accommodate for the person. I speak in metaphor. I think you guys realize that. And now when you tell your friends that the couch isn't coming, they think that you're an idiot to have spent all that money on your imaginary couch. So what I want to point out here is the ramifications of this entire system. It's not just the couch, it's now the hole that it leaves in the space and the people that were looking forward to seeing it, and the matching colors that no longer are relevant any longer, and the settling that you've had to do by settling for the chair that's worth a quarter of a price. So it's not just one little thing. It's, again, system gone wrong makes new systems go wrong. So you could see how this has a lot of chaos to it. And then to avoid the chaos of the lie, you helped the people to defend their story. Like, yeah, it's okay. Don't worry. I know it's coming. Yeah, it's okay. I know you need to take the time to think about this. I know. And then, of course, the narcissist will start presenting your own flaws to make a case why they shouldn't be with you. And then guess what you do, Tony? I'll let you guess at that too. What would a person who's got abandonment issues and issues of not feeling important going to do if the narcissist starts telling them that they are the problem? Any guess in the chat room on that one? I know I'm quizzing you guys tonight. You there, Tony? Okay.
So go ahead and say that again so I can get the right.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that if you're so close to that carrot, you can just, you're salivating.
Right.
And the narcissist takes a sharp turn on you and says, well, the reason I'm not committing is because you're always this and always that, and I've been watching you, and you're not actually the partner that I've dreamt of, and now they start making a case against you. What would that person do?
What would the narcissist do, or what would I do?
No, the person who is being accused of not being good enough.
Well, if it was a chocolate bar versus a carrot, I'd take the chocolate bar. But
Right, but I'm saying, what internally would the person do if they're being told by the narcissist, well, the reason this is taking so long is because you're not growing. The reason this is taking so long is because you're not the person I thought you were. The reason is because you're not as smart as I thought. The reason is because you've gained weight. The reason is because anything. What do you think the person who's being attacked this way is going to do internally?
Well, I mean, definitely internally, you're going to have all those conflicting thoughts that have been going since childhood, probably raging through your mind. But you know, as an adult now, it would probably still appear in my mind. But I think I definitely would not take that abuse as it would be. But you know, 20 years ago, I probably would have to almost agree and start questioning me as a person.
Exactly. So the healthy Tony, no way, like I'm not buying it, but the unhealthy part would say, maybe I am too fat. Maybe I'm not smart. Maybe I'm not as great as, maybe I don't deserve to be. So in other words, the favorite tactic in all of this is to turn the person against themselves
Right.
so that they can leave and say, well, I left because they had a problem.
Right.
Okay. Isn't that a cute little game, right?
Right. And exactly what it is a game.
Right. It's so gamey, like, okay, like we're almost there, we're almost there. Well, I've been watching you over the last few months and I seem to be noticing all kinds of problems. Now, granted, they never had a conversation with you about it so that you could straighten it out and talk to see how mutually you guys can solve problems. Because anybody that's genuinely in a relationship is going to be a partner in solving the problem, not a person who's going to attack you with the problem.
Let me ask you this, because I always said, you know, when they say things come in threes, I always said if three different people that you've dated bring up the same issue, like I remember three different relationships back in the day would always say, I can never have a serious conversation with you because you joke everything off. And so because I'd always like make a joke or try to get out of the conversation, I thought after the third time, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe that is an issue that I need to work on. So what if you hear that in multiple relationships? So versus the narcissist that is just saying it to be manipulative and controlling.
Because the narcissist or the partner has a responsibility to early on in the relationship address it and let you know how it makes the person
Yeah.
feel and work on it with you, whereas the other ones are just giving you feedback,
Right.
which you can then take to therapy or whatever to work it through. But once you're in that relationship, the responsibility is to confront your partner, or, like if I were on the other side of it, I'd say, Tony, what is it with you? You're always brushing things off as a joke. It makes me feel like I'm not being taken seriously.
Right.
And then in a partnership, you'd have a conversation and you'd come up with a better solution. And maybe you would grow by saying, you know what, you're right. I've noticed that about myself, and other people have told me that too. And maybe humor is a defense mechanism
Which it was.
intimacy, right? But you see where I'm going with it. It would be a legit conversation, not just a criticism thrown at you.
Right. Right. So, okay, that makes sense.
Any other chat room questions or thoughts or anything?
Doesn't look like people chatting, but not necessarily asking. So, but we have just a few more minutes. If you want another question to ask, please do. Otherwise, Dr. Judy did a great job today. She's amazing.
Thanks, Tony. And so just to sum it up, hope runs eternal. They depend on your hope running eternal so that they can play this game as long as they can. And they hope that many people hope runs eternal. So they can do it 3, 4, 5 times at the same time with different people. So they've got one hoping, it's like, those spinning plates. You've got one spinning and then another spinning and another spinning. So you just keep adding to those spinning plates, and you just happen to be one of them until another one gives them more of a narcissistic supply, and then they'll drop you being the plate, and then you'll feel like you're cracking up. And that's how it feels. It feels like you've been dropped. It feels like you're shattered. It feels like that core depth of doubt, self-doubt is activated into meaninglessness. Now you're a big nothing because they don't love you. And that's your work now to take to your therapist or the psychological healing center, or learn it through the video, to look deep into where are your vulnerabilities that other people can hook into and use to their advantage, because that's how narcissism works.
Right.
Okay, so if there are no other questions, thank you so much, everybody, for joining in, and I'll see you next time. Good night, everybody. Thank you.